And we are live. Welcome, everybody, to part two of a four-part series entitled Help, I'm Teaching Math. Tonight's theme, you see it right there, Graspable Math. I love Graspable Math. Susan does, Deidre does. So many people love it. It's absolutely amazing, and we're here to show you more about it tonight. We're really excited. My name is Tim Brzezinski. Welcome. I'm joined here by Susan Carriger at the bottom and Deidre Baker, who is representing the Iowa Council of Teachers of Mathematics. The ICTM is sponsoring this free event tonight. Thank you, Deidre. Thank you, Susan, for being here. We're really excited. And Deidre, do you have any few words you'd like to say before we begin?
No, kids love Graspable Math. I love Graspable Math. I'm so excited to learn more from you and Susan. Iowa Council of Teachers of Mathematics is so happy to present this content so that anyone who gets to teach math this year in whatever capacity has the tools they need to succeed.
Uh-oh.
I'm back. It's okay. Thanks for being
Okay.
here.
Awesome. Thank you
Okay.
for being here. Susan, why don't you go ahead, tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll do like a minute of bio. Just dig right
Okay.
in because teachers are excited. They're waiting.
Yeah, I've been teaching math for 36 years and I've recently moved from Mississippi to Indiana.
Wow.
Definite difference up here and love my new students and staff, faculty and staff that are working alongside me at Harshman Middle School. First time to
Awesome.
teach eighth grade, and I don't know, they keep me on my toes. They definitely make me I get my exercise, put it that way.
I
I'm on my
bet.
feet.
I
I'm definitely running around catching up to them, so it's cool.
Absolutely. And I'm honored to do this with you together. I mean, I've seen your enthusiasm on Twitter with using Graspable Math. I mean, I tweet a lot about it, and it's just a game
Yeah,
changer, teachers. And like I said,
it
if you're here
is.
for the next 2 hours, we'll take a 5 minute break in between, get water, go to the bathroom, whatever. But even if you have to leave this broadcast for 5 minutes, you can always drag the button back. If you're not totally with us live, that's cool. But throw your questions in there. By the way, if you're in the chat, whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, let us know. We have Mongolia here. It's morning over there. Good morning. I won't even
Good
try to
morning.
pronounce that name, but good morning. But yeah, so you know what? We are honored that you're here with us, and we thank you for being here. So Mexico City, hello, hello. My name is Tim Brzezinski. I am a high school math teacher in New Haven, Connecticut at the Engineering and Science University Magnet School. It's a STEM school in New Haven. Really honored to doing a lot of geometry and algebra next year. And so I'm excited to use Graspable Math in there. And I've used it in a lot of my other math classes I've taught in years past. And it is an absolute game changer. I can't stress it enough. So let's get digging in. And honestly, let me just remove this right here before we start. The best way to get to Graspable Math is literally go to math.new. Don't believe me? Try it. Watch this. So I'm going to give me a second here. I'm going to stop my screen share and I'm going to share it again. But this time I'm going to share my Chrome tab instead. All right, give me a second. I'll do a Chrome tab right there. We'll go here. By the way, if you am I sharing right now? All right, you can see that power slides there. Deidre, if you can go drop in the tiny URL for a second so that people can follow along with us tonight, that would be wonderful. Susan and I, we made a Google Slides presentation that you can access now and afterwards as well. There's lots of hyperlinks in there, several reference YouTube videos that you can access later after this broadcast is over. It's like, oh yeah, Tim and Susan talked about that. What was that again? It's all going to be here. All right. If you have a phone, contact information, social media, get those QR codes. They're right there. But if I'm going to go to, this is what it's going to look like on the second slide here. In the very first hour, we're going to explore GM's powerful whiteboard. All right. The first hour is going to be just dedicated to looking at Graspable Math's live, collaborative, interactive whiteboard. Well, just like Google Slides and Google Docs, you can have kids working live together. You can create group tasks. We're going to do that later on in the hour. It's so easy to do. All right. And in the second hour, we're going to focus on Graspable Math activities, where you can assign activities to students and watch all their progress in real time. The second hour is going to be basically the Desmos analogy of activity builder and assigning Desmos activities, if you will. But in the first hour, we're going to look at the powerful whiteboard because it's amazing. And the best way to get there is right here, math.new. Watch
Math
this.
dot
I'm going to go right here, math.new. And look at this. Voila. There it is. And I'm going to make it bigger. Again, believe me, it's so easy. Math.new. And I tell students a lot. I say, you know what? Just go, Mr. B, did I do this correctly? Don't ask me, just go to math.new. Well, what do you mean math.new? All right, check it out here. We go to insert an expression. Let me just show you something here. Let's suppose they they simplified an expression. Let me show you this. Let's suppose that was the expression right there.
We're not seeing that yet. Hold on.
You're not seeing my screen?
We see the slide presentation.
Okay, so maybe, I have to go right to here. Okay, so now I know. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm going to, how do I switch here? All right, give me 1 second here. Go see mom, okay? I can't go right now. Thank you, sorry. This is a bad time here. All right, give me a second here. I stopped sharing. Let me go back to it. I'm just going to share my entire screen because that'll be easier.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Share screen. All right. Entire screen. So watch this. We're going to go to math.new. Here it is. I'll type it in again, math.new. You can see that now, right?
Bam.
Here we go.
There it is.
So now let's say a student works on paper, like they simplify an expression. They go to math.new. See, and I insert a math expression, or I could just click in the white. Clicking in the white just brings me here. So let's suppose the original expression was 4x minus 3x plus 3 minus 5x plus 1. And I hit enter, right? Now there's the expression. Now there's a bunch of buttons up here. I'm just going to hit arrange. Arrange lets me drag stuff around, right? I'm going to move it up here. I'm going to hit transform again now. See, transform lets you transform. And unlike PhotoMath, students have to know what to do to simplify this. Because see, look right here. If I click on the plus right here, it shakes its head no at me, doesn't like me, because it's like, those aren't like terms, right? This won't work either. Neither will this. Oh wow, what just happened? I clicked on the negative sign, it distributed it through. And if I click on this minus sign, see right here, it doesn't like it. If I click on this, doesn't like it, doesn't like me, doesn't like me. But what if I click on this one? Oh my gosh, what just happened? Wow. That's awesome, right? This is, Graspable Math teachers makes math playful. So this is a great way to formatively assess. If you give your students a warm-up of 4 expressions to simplify in Algebra 1 class, they work it out on paper, you have them go to math.new on their Chromebook, and they type in the expression, and they play around with the symbols, see if they get the same expression at the end. And I could drag these bubbles here up and down that you did as well. Okay? And look at this. Oh, no. Oh, wait, where are my like terms? Oh, watch this. Now check this out. See that? If I take this negative sign, I can drag this with it, and I can bring it right next door. And now I can do this. How many x's is that going to make, guys? Oh, -4 of them, right? And even right here, I can drag this one on top of the -3, and it'll change it. It'll transform it to a -2. Oh, but Mr. B, I got -2 minus 4x. Yeah, great. So yeah, addition is commute, subtract. You see what I'm saying? So again, math.new, and look what we have. You can insert any expression, function, whatever. Again, you can insert a video. There's GeoGebra in here. We're just barely scratching the surface. But the point I wanted to get across is math.new is what really brings you there. In fact, if we go back to the Google Slides here, okay, let's actually go to the one that says order of operations. And Deidre, would you be willing to drop that link in there for me, please? So everybody, for those that aren't on the slides, they can get it from the comments on the platform they're watching on. Okay. But order of operations right here. This is something that I made for middle school kids, for middle school students. It's loading. Give it a sec. Hang on. Why are you doing that? Nope. Hang on. Did it?
That was just the. I don't think it has
It's not converting there. All right. Let's. I'll find it. But Susan, why don't you go to the next? Why don't you go to the next one there, so you can go and I'll find it in the meantime. I might have messed up the URL there.
All right. So we're gonna go.
And let me see if.
All right. So I'm at.
Yeah, I messed up that link.
All right. So you want me to just go to my screen? That'll be fine.
Yeah. Go ahead. Share yours. I'll add it to the stream. Go right ahead.
All right. So I'm on Graspable Math. So math.new obviously takes you to the collaborative whiteboards, but you can also get to them at graspablemath.com, and there's other stuff here you can look at. So I'm going to go that way and click on whiteboard, and here I am. I'm at the whiteboard. Now, let's say I've got a student in class and, you know, we're solving, I think I want to do something a little different. Let's do a cubic equation. So let's say x plus 2 cubed is equal to 27. And the student maybe is needing to work with this. So I've given them an example of something that they could use to solve. So I'm going to assign this task to a student in tutoring. And I'm going to click on the button up here that says Assign Collaborative Live.
Am I going to be the student?
And you're going to be the student. So I'm going to click on Collaborative Live. And
well,
then I'm
turns
going
on
to
live
copy
collaboration
that
right
link. What now?
Yeah, no, that enables you to share it now. Because before, if you gave that someone
Exactly.
that
So
link,
now
they
I've created this simple cubic equation, and I'm going to copy that link. And I could go to my email or my LM, or it's Google Classroom or Canvas, or we use Schoology at our school. But I could send that to that student and say, here, I need you to come do this problem. It would probably be a lot more involved than this, but for time's sake, we're just giving you a little taste of this. So what I would do is I would send that to our student. So I'm going to go ahead and send this to the student. We're going to let Tim be our student today.
Yep.
And he's going to go to his email or wherever he gets his information as a student, and he's going to grab that. And he's going to go
Yep.
to the same screen.
All right. So this is what Mrs. C, this is what you shared with me here. Let me zoom out. See, I got it now. But Mrs. Carricker, can I do something even better? Could we actually tutor 2 students at once, perhaps?
We could. So what I'll do, I think you've got the same link. So let's say I've sent that email to a second student who is now opening that same link, and they could collaborate.
I'm going to actually go to my work Google account. See here. So right now, here I am, student B right here, right? See how in one you are. I'm 2 different people right now. These are 2 different Google tabs here. In this tab, I'm just Tim Brzezinski. This is my personal account here. But right here, this is my New Haven Public Schools account where my name is listed as that. See how we're 2 different people? Watch this. This is where the magic happens. See, you can collaborate live here just like you do in a Google Doc. Don't believe me? Well, look at this. I can move this 27. Oh, see how student on the right sees Tim Brzezinski's moving it? I'm going to zoom in close right there. Watch this. I'm going to come close here. If once I drag this 27, right? See how it's moving? Look at what's happening. Student B on the right sees that the student named Tim Brzezinski is dragging it. And Susan Carricker can see all this action because she's the one that created the original file.
Right.
You see what I mean?
See both
this is
students
powerful.
working. Yes.
Right. So right here, let me zoom out here. I'm thinking, okay, maybe Mrs. Carricker is asking me to help student B, because you know how sometimes you want, have kids work together on a problem. Oh, let me undo that. So again, this student up here, there's an undo button. This student cannot undo the other student's work. So like right here, gosh, what do I have to do first? I have to do something with this cube. I have to do something over here.
Can't
Let me bring this over.
Wow.
With cube rooting.
Inverse operations. Very nice.
Okay, yeah. And so now, all right, let's see here. Now I can go here. This student is now working here, but I could take this too, right? Oh, wait a minute. See, anything one student does, the other student does, right? So teachers, think of, man, if this was here during COVID 2020, this would have been a game changer. But unfortunately, this wasn't out yet.
Talk about it live during a Google Meet, during a Zoom call. Talk about, you have those breakout sessions with your kids. Give them something to actually do other than stare at each other. You have this task to work on. Let me see what you got. What did y'all come up with?
Look at this. Oh my gosh. Solved
wow.
It, right?
Look at that.
Now, Mrs. Carricker, let's do this for a second, okay? Now, there might be some teachers who, let me just go to math.new for a second, all right, in this account here. I'm going to create a brand new whiteboard here, math.new, and I'll just go to graspableMath.com over here, right? Some teachers,
Okay.
when we give an equation, some teachers, let me actually just make this bigger. Oh, why is it doing that? Okay, hang on. There, that's better. So let's suppose I'm just working on solving a linear equation, right? Like say 3x plus 5 equals 8x minus 9. I have no clue what the solution is. I don't even care. All right, but there it is, right? But see, there are teachers that actually don't like, say I've dragged the 3 and the x, I could bring it over here. There are teachers that say to me, Tim, I don't want Graspable Math to do the thinking for the students. I want to focus on inverse operations instead. So how do I actually do that? You know what I mean? Like, you see how it drags, how do I disable that? All right. And Susan, could you walk us through that piece at least? I know I'm sharing my screen, but
Yes. Well, I'm not on that screen, but under the settings button, which I think you have to do this one because I think you created
yep.
this one. So
Yeah.
click on the settings button, and then there's an option right at the top to disable dragging. So
Right
if you're
there.
trying to get them to apply to both sides, you disable dragging. And then if you go back to your equation, in order to solve that equation, you won't be able to drag, but you'll be able to tap on that equal sign to pull up the keyboard so
Yep.
that you can add or subtract
Right.
from both sides.
And that is powerful. And you could do that, teachers, at any time, because watch this. Save the changes. Now, just what Susan did, I'm going to hit assign collaborate live right up here. I want to
Okay.
share it with a student that I'm tutoring, maybe collaborate live right there. So now it's live. So watch this. I'm the teacher over here, and the student account was right over here. Right?
Yeah.
There it is. So watch this. Oops, I have to copy that. I have to copy this link right here. I forgot to copy that share link.
Mm-hmm.
Check it out. Now watch what happens as this student, watch what happens. I'm going to make this, I'm going to zoom in a little bit here so you can see. I'll zoom in over here, make it a little bit bigger. Watch what happens when I try to drag the 3x now. It won't
let you do it. Nope.
See, now I am forced as a student to focus on inverse operations. And I'm thinking, now Mrs. Carricker and I can have that one-on-one conversation like, Tim,
Mm-hmm.
that 3, how do you undo that addition? Like, so what you have to do is press the equal, click on the equal sign. See, if you click on the equal sign, it says E. E literally, in Graspable Math, E means everything, both left side and right side at the same time. So what do you want to do to both sides? Well, don't you ever have the classic students that want to add 3x to both sides? So I'm going to do it. Watch this. I'm going to add 3x. I mean, I can do that, right? Look
They
at this.
can do anything that's legal. It may not make sense, but that's kind of what you want. You want the kids to do the thinking so that when they don't get what they expect, they learn from that mistake. You don't want them just tell them what to do because, as we know, we tell them what to do a lot and they don't always hear what we're saying.
Oh,
Hey,
but
This
Mrs.
way
Tim,
they-
Carricker,
Susan,
yeah.
Yeah.
there is a question that in the chat that as a teacher with many students, can you see what each student is doing separately, or do you just see the final result?
Yes.
gonna
Thank
come
you.
up-
When you go
yeah.
in, when you go into your teacher dashboard, I don't know what it's not really called that, I don't think, but there's actually every kid displayed. So when we get into the second half and do those activities, you're going to see more of what that's about. So you will be able to see all your students' work.
That's coming up in the second hour. That's a great question. You're like, that's so totally stay tuned. That's coming up. You're going to love it. Totally love it. But see right here, thank you, Deidre. Again, Deidre, interject anytime you see those common questions. They'll bring them because it's better sometimes to answer verbally right on the spot. It's perfect. But see here, it's like, man, you know, there's a lot of kids that want to just simply, at this point, they just want to add the 3x to both sides, right? And they think that goes to 0x, and it doesn't, right? By the way, you could draw here. I was using that draw there. But here, graspable math helps dispel those misconceptions. You know, I love asking kids, like, you know, you cannot combine like terms. Like if I try clicking on, you know, how many of you in the audience have older siblings? And I bet you a lot of you would raise your hand, right? And I would ask teachers, I say, well, students, how many of you have ever learned what to do by seeing what not to do? You watch your older siblings get in trouble. And they're like, yeah. Well, think of this as the analogy of that, right? Math is playful. Unlike math, the way it was taught in the 70s and 80s and 90s, it was like, this is what you do, chalk and talk, monkey see, monkey do, right? Or this whole like, you know, I do, you do, we do mentality. It just makes me cringe in my stomach because it's like, Students are not robots, they're critical thinkers. With the tech that exists to let them play, let's let them, we could formatively assess this way, let them think critically, let students have their own aha moments by using a playful, fluid algebra notation called Graspable Math, or as you better know it, math.new.
Right.
Right.
And there's
So,
one more thing I want to interject too. Some teachers want text. They want some text, and I do often ask students to write things. So that pen tool works, but there's also a text. You can insert text and have kids tell you which inverse operation did you use from one step to the next. It's, it's kind of an informal algebraic proof. But that's something you could also do to have kids maybe talk through their work, is put some text in there, and they can drag those text boxes around anywhere they want them.
oh, that's the
And it's a
arrange tool, the
great tool
arrange
to
one right
use.
there. Yep, I can move it here. See, I move it. I can make it there. Whatever. I can make it bigger, small. But yeah, here I could actually doodle, like a smiley face. Sometimes with social emotional learning, I just give them a blank canvas. I say, tell me, sketch a picture of how you're feeling today. It's like, the Desmos check-in screens. It's that kind of logic, but I could check in with them, and I'm the only one who sees that screen, those thumbnails. You see what I'm saying? Graspable has that. We'll talk about that in the next hour. Okay. This whiteboard is great for just maybe you have a couple kids coming in after school. Maybe you have a student who is home for 5 days because they have COVID in a couple months. Unfortunately, that is still happening. It stinks, but it is. Right? So if you want to work one-on-one with a student, or have a student join Google Meet Live, maybe they could show their work on Graspable Math. I personal experience teaching high school last year in the pre-calc class, and even some intermediate algebra classes. I gave Graspable Math activities. Kids were homesick. You know what? They were completing the activities on Graspable Math. They loved it, and they were solving literal equations. They were solving systems of equations, quadratics, all on here, but they had to know what to do in order to do it successfully. Right.
Yes.
And
And, you can also count their steps. So if they take like 30 steps to do something that should take 4 or 5 steps. So, I mean, you can see their thinking, and that's important as a teacher to kind of get a gauge of if they truly understand, if they're just fumbling around.
right.
So that's important too.
And so again, Graspable is a place to make mistakes. Teachers like, how do they fix it? The student has the aha moment now. Well, they should not have added 3x to both sides. They should have taken it away. Well, look at right here at this bubble. They could go back to this line. If you click on a bubble, you can go back to that line and watch this. Now I can click on the equal sign and I could subtract 3x. Ah, that's much better, isn't it? Heck yeah. You see what I'm saying? Now I can make those go away. And now if I scroll down, you see what I mean here? Now I can actually bring it next door and go ahead. And now it's like, oh wait, I can't drag that 9 right there, right? Because I remember I disabled dragging. So now I have to click on the equal sign again. And what do you want to do to both sides? I want to add 9. See, when I show teachers the disabling of the dragging across the equal signs, a lot of teachers are like, thank you. I want my students to know what to do in order to do it well. But you know what? There's a time and a place for everything. I personally don't believe that, I should try to leave my opinion out of it, but there's a time and a place where they should drag across equal signs just to see, wow, what's really going on here? Playfulness at the very beginning, but then when you want to emphasize inverse operations, you turn it off after. You see what I mean? And then,
Yep.
but I can't even divide by 5, so I have to click on this now and divide both sides by 5 / where's the division sign? Don't you wish you had a dollar every time the kids ask that question? Where's the division button on my calculator? But then here, now I can cancel that, and now I get 14/5, or if I double click, 2 8/10. But all that work is here. Again, how did I do that again? I went here, and I could stop live collaboration. And once I do, see here, it registers now. You could go to math.new, collaborate live. You could share it with a few people at once. You could share it with a bunch of people, but just like, a Google Doc, you don't want too many cooks in the kitchen. That kind of logic. There's a much more efficient, effective way.
Too busy.
Yeah.
And one more thing, Graspable Math is amazing for. I don't know about you, but trying to get kids to type math in Google Slides, type math in Jamboard, type math in. I can name all the applications they used to create things online when we were home with COVID. And yeah, there are products that are probably even better for an equation editor, but you know what? There's nothing so simple. And when kids need to do a demonstration, they can use it. So that's another use for Graspable Math.
Exactly. So let's actually, Susan, before we go back to you sharing your screen, let's actually just do that order of operations quick. I changed the link there. So
Okay.
Deidre, here's the correct link is in this one right here. I just want to show you a quick example of how Graspable Math can foster discovery learning in grade 4 or 3 even. I'm not sure where, did it really, come on, how come this hyperlink is not working?
It looks like it doesn't have
sorry.
the...
Yeah, I changed it literally, but let me find, here it is. Deidre, here's the one to share with everybody. All right, so I'll try to fix that after, but let me go here. And let me just remove that for a second. Deidre, it's in the private, I'll throw it in the comments right here. Okay, so go here. There it is. All right, I just posted in there. And we'll add it to the stream one more time. Okay, so now it's right here. Instead of teaching students the order of operations, I'm gonna try to be pretty bold and say I think they can discover the order of operations for themselves by playing with Graspable Math. If you go to that link that I just posted in the comments, right? It's also in there, but look at this. If, like, watch this. Click. Oh, weird. What about here? Notice when I click on the plus sign, it doesn't like me, does it? It will never let me add first. It always wants me to do what? Multiply, right? Look at this. Say no, But see, to have kids play like this, you see what I'm saying? And just to go through it and say, gosh, what do you notice? What do you wonder? Have them play for 5 minutes. And then you see that key question at the bottom, right? I think it's at the bottom there. But what's the question asking? Display all the steps when evaluating expressions containing only adding and multiplying. What order do we take? You see, this 21st century tech now exists. Students can play and have those aha moments for something so simple like this, right? So they could tell us that multiplying always comes before you add. If for simple cases like this, right? Parentheses again, but we can make a sequence of activities. Let's make it more complex. Let's throw in adding and multiplying and then throw parentheses in there with a plus. Now the kids discover, wow, parentheses comes. You see what I'm saying? You can have them describe. It's almost like write the directions for making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You know what I mean? You have to talk about articulating what we want. You could do something like that here super easily with Graspable Math. Okay, so Graspable Math not only supports conceptual understanding, but it fosters discovery learning. This is simple discovery learning right here. What are we discovering? Yeah. Well, multiplying comes before adding, right? So
yeah, and I'd like to inject one thing too. The I do, we do, you do, of course, is probably the most popular model in most traditional classrooms. But this tool allows you to reverse it. I mean, the kids start by doing, and then you can work together to pull out what kids are doing and say, notice what they did and what happened. What do you think? And then finally, at the end, you can formalize that by kind of pointing out, okay, this is what we've learned today. Right. Yeah, just reverse the model. Kids start in here and then move towards a more formal model at the end instead of doing it the other way around.
Absolutely. So Susan, you're up next with the system. So DJ, could you put the system of linear inequalities in there, please? Or I could do it since I'm not sharing right now. So we get it there.
All right, so let's go. Well, first of all, let me get to it.
Actually, could you put it in the private chat, Susan? Because I think that for some reason these links
they're all dead.
I must have messed that one up. I'm sorry. I thought it was, but I will fix it.
All right, what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to have to stop sharing so I can share this, though, unfortunately. So let me do.
Sorry about that, everybody. I thought we had it, but there's
It's all right. This is what the real world, right? Isn't this how this works? Yeah. So I'm going to.
There was a question up there that someone asked, can you solve simultaneous equations? Yes, you can. We'll do that later.
You absolutely can. In fact, what I'm doing right now is kind of something you could do. So let me put this link in the chat if she needs it.
I'll put it out there immediately.
Okay. Well, actually, it does work on mine, so I don't know why yours isn't working. That's weird.
Really? All right, I got it.
I went straight to it. All right, so let me share my screen. And then you can. I have a cat screaming. I hope y'all can't hear that. We're so polished and professional.
Yeah, right. So did you hit share, Susan? Can you hit share again?
Hold on.
Sure.
All right, I'll just share the whole thing. It's fine.
There we go.
All right, so here we are. Are you seeing this?
Yep.
All right, this is a system of linear inequalities. This has all been created already. So this is something you could give to kids. This is actually an example of something a student would create. Here's a point that is a solution. Here's a point that's not a solution. And this is a point that is not a solution. So what I'm going to do is show you how you can do this algebraically and graphically. So let me start over with math.new, and I want to show you from scratch kind of what you can do with this. So I'm going to insert math expression, or you can tap on the board itself, and I'm just going to type in some things. Let's do x plus y is less than 5. And then I'm going to tap on the whiteboard again, and let's try another inequality. Maybe 2x minus y is greater than or equal to 6. So I'm going to hit the arrange button just because I like them to be closer together, and transform to turn that back off. Now, what I want to do is find a solution to this system. And there's a couple of ways we can do that. We can actually do this graphically. So there's a graphing, GeoGebra graph in here under insert. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to pull that in. And this is actually how I did this problem with my algebra kits to start. I had them basically grab this little gray dot. I don't know what we call that. And I'll drag it over here, and look at that. You know, when I do that, that turns blue, and that's telling me it's going to basically drop that onto that graph. And then I'm going to take this dot, and I'm going to drag it over here, and it graphs that one too. So what I ask students to do is go ahead and find for me, if you will, on this graph. I don't know why I can't get this to move. Let me grab it. You can pull this around, by the way. I want students to show me examples of solutions and non-solutions, but also verify it with the actual inequalities too. Show me how that works. Explain to me the relationship between points that are solutions, aren't solutions, this graph, and these inequalities. So I'm going to insert, and you don't have to hit insert, but you can hit just type on the, that's new, by the way. So I'm still stuck on the old mode, but I'm going to pick a point like 1, 1. That's a good example. And I'm going to type it onto this whiteboard. Now I can plot that point by grabbing that same gray dot, and you'll see that that point is in the shaded region, but it's not a solution because it's not in the shaded region for both inequalities. So we're going to show why that's true by substituting this over here. So I'm going to grab these and make copies of them by dragging them over here. Let's see, I think I want to pull that over a little more.
I love that drag and drop. You take the white
Isn't
dot
it
next
awesome?
to the inequality. It
See,
just
I made a
copies
copy
it.
of that in 2 seconds.
Yep.
And you know, these kids
Beautiful.
are faster than me. They're amazing. I'm going to take this 1 and I'm going to substitute x is 1. I'm going to take this 1 and substitute 1 for this y. And then I'm going to click on that. And I've got a statement right here. 2 is less than 5. And that is a true statement. So that's a good thing.
Can you drag it down? Can we drag that down to see all the steps?
Yeah, we can see all the things we did to plug that in.
Can I also interject this for a second too? Could you actually hit undo a bunch of times for a second? I want to show teachers this because I know this question is going to come up. It always comes up when I've done this. Okay, so can you undo one more time? Just to undo the copying. Okay, so I'm sorry. Let's copy just one of them again. Drag the first one over. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, did you note? Now hit arrange. Let's move that out of the box. Okay, hit arrange. We can move that inequality out of the GeoGebra graph there. Okay, now go back to transform. So you start doing stuff. Now, if you go to settings, teachers, some teachers want parentheses to always show up when students substitute. If you notice when Susan did it, it did not do that, right? But if you go down there, see, if you go to settings, go scroll up. I think it's up a little bit.
Did I miss it?
Yep.
Oh, here it is.
Yep. So see that checkbox there, substitute with parentheses?
Aha.
Check it. Now,
so when I do it now, it's going to substitute with parentheses.
Watch
so
this.
now it's got
See?
parentheses.
Boom. And you can make that your default for you teachers that want to make that your default. Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't because it's just 2 more clicks, but for this one it is. It's not for those others though, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, 2 is less than 5. And the cool thing is you can have all these steps show, or they can have, you know, just the ones they want. So the kids can like drag it up and down and just display the ones they care about. So I could just leave it like that.
Yep. Can we get a
All
little
right,
sneak peek in the, can we get a little
let me
sneak peek
do
in the
one
next style
more.
really quick? Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me do the other one. Then I'm going to show you something else that we do. And so let's go ahead and pull this over.
This is
this
fun.
one over.
It's been hours in here.
Okay, and then you say they can't do that. So they're still practicing their orders of operation here. And then they get this statement. Well, 1 is not greater than or equal to 6. So see, that is a false statement. So that kind of explains why A is not a solution. So the kids could add text in here and explain that. You know, they could do more than just simplify or solve or do some one rote skill, but actually put some text in here. This point is not a solution to this system because it was really only a solution to the first one. This was true. It is not a solution to this second one.
Right.
And so that's kind of what they do. So the one you have the link to in the presentation is a completed task without the actual using the inequalities. So you could insert that. You could give that to the kids and say, show me with the inequalities or whatever. There's so much you could do.
Yeah. And by the way, we could also we could also disable dragging across the inequality sign. If you go to settings, remember we did that last time. We could do the same thing here. Susan can differentiate and emphasize what she wants to emphasize in her classes with her students. Go into the settings and click it and uncheck and whatever she wants. And as a teacher, you have the power to do that. It's amazing. Now, can you do this? Can you also do the thing? Colleen, I feel the same way. Every time they have an update, it just blows my mind. It really does. Now, can you actually go to Scrub for a second? Can you go to? I want to just get a.
You might need to. Yeah, I don't use this as much, but yeah, Scrub shows. If I change this, it changes everything.
Yeah,
which is amazing.
Basically it's the Desmos and GeoGebra slider, up a million notches. You can actually alter the parameters of coefficients, and you can alter the coefficients and equations to see how that graph changes. It's pretty cool. So when you, it's amazing. And exactly, you see the 5. She clicked on the 5. You follow the path to 5 where it went. All right, it's unbelievable. But
it's a scrub, and so you can scrub. See, it's showing you where that is. So the kids can play with that too. That's pretty powerful stuff. You can also change this point. If I change this point, let's see, I want to undo that. Wait a second. Did I do it?
Yeah, just move 2 up. So you can have the students scrub the number.
If I move this over, see, now these are not solutions, but if I can get it right in here, it won't let me. Let's try this.
We can have the kids try to scrub those 2 coefficients, the x and y coordinates. Let's scrub those numbers to try to get that in the solution set and look at to make both inequalities.
Or they can move the point around. They can do all of the above. Yeah.
Maybe we can ask students to say, hey, you know what? You plug them in, whatever. But let's move the points around to make both inequalities true. And oh my gosh, when both inequalities are true, it always lies in the intersection of those 2 graphs. Kids can have the aha moment both ways.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
They can discover it for themselves as well. So having them play with all these tools and show, where's that 4 going? How that 4 is affecting all that. So it's showing you that, and that's pretty sweet.
Exactly.
Good.
So now,
I want Susan, one more thing before we move on to the next thing. I did link out, I'm not showing it, but I linked out to a student who actually she didn't actually use the inequalities as much. She did the graphing, but she explained using Graspable Math how to graph just by dragging over and describing the points. So if you want to take a look at her work, this is a 9th grade student, very young. She doesn't sound it. She sounds super mature, but she did a good job. So check that out when you get a chance.
So we will. And Susan, so now that you're still screen sharing, Richard, we can answer your question right now. Some teachers want to scrub by 1/10 instead of 1.0, like a whole number. So to do that, Richard, go to the settings. Susan will walk you through it right here. Go to settings. And Susan, if you scroll down a little bit, scroll down even more, scrubbing numbers.
Precision. Yeah.
Yep, scrubbing numbers. So Susan, could you make that 0 a 1, please? I think you type a 1 there. So Richard, if you want to do it to 1 decimal place, let's hit Save Changes. Okay. Now you can go ahead and scrub. There you go, Richard. That's how you do it. Okay. So you could do you do that right there. Okay. So let's see what we have some questions here. Let's see what Mira here. Is there something to do to drag things? You just click the arrows. Doesn't let me. What you have to do is actually click on the number, press and hold down the mouse, and then drag it while you're pressing it down. If that makes sense.
Press up and down, up and down.
Well, so press on the trackpad, and while you're pressing, just push up on the trackpad while you're pressing. If that makes sense. Okay, you can totally do that there. All right. You got it. Absolutely, Richard. You got it. So you'll notice there. All right. I guess I'll start screen sharing again for the next thing, because I want to now, let's now switch gears to talk about live collaborative groups. Okay. So we showed how we can share one single whiteboard with a single student, or maybe 2 or 3 students. But what if I have a whole class of 25 students or 24 students? Let's do the math. 24 divided by 2 is 12. How do I make 12 groups? And have I want to randomly break them up in the groups of 2, and I'm going to pair up a student with another student, and so they have the same interactive whiteboard. And I'm going to have them solve the same problem 2 different ways, but they can see how the other person's solving it. You see what I'm saying? How do I go about doing that? All right, that's what we're going to do right here. So what I need to do is go back to math.new. I'm sorry for a second. Give me a second. Yeah, what the heck? Let's go right here to math.new. Leave. And I think I had this over here. I don't feel like typing it up again to save time, but let me go here. Some reason it's not letting me copy. It's not letting me. It's
that
not going to
last
that
part
actual.
Of that. That's weird.
Yeah, but I'm going to just open it up in a new tab here. Okay, let me just and paste it right here. Yeah, for some reason it truncates for me. I don't know why. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to my other account because I think it worked there. Maybe I have too many cookies, too many things. I don't know. But let me go here and do this. Here we go. So, Deidre, I wouldn't throw this link. Well, actually, you don't need to throw a link in there yet. But this is what we're going to do. Okay, and this is going to be interesting. Can you see my screen, Susan? Okay, I think you can, right?
I can see.
Right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to break everybody watching up in the groups of 2. You're going to get paired with somebody else in the world. I have no clue who they are or where they're from. But what I'm going to ask you to do is play with what I'm going to ask you to do is play with Graspable Math's notation here. You're going to work with your partner to try to simplify this complex expression in a way that's different from the person you started with. Okay? So whoever you're paired up with, you're going to see someone else writing live. Okay? But everybody in the audience who wants to participate, okay, when I give Deidre the URL and she assigns it to you, whatever like that, you're going to get the link. You're going to join. You're going to be randomly put in with somebody in the world, and you're going to try to simplify an expression on either side. So here's what we do. Oh, forgot that. Right. So I forgot. It won't let me go in there. So I'm going to find this. It belongs to somebody else. That's why. Here's what I'm going to do. Let me just do this. Math.new. I'm going to make it on the fly. This is like great planning right here, because don't you ever have an idea that comes to you 5 minutes before the bell rings and the kids come to class? So I'm going to pretend to be that right now. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to say, okay, order of operations time. Here we go. Here we go. Whoops, minus the square root of, let's say, 49 times 2 plus 3 to the second. There we go. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to arrange it. All right, I'm going to transform it. Oops, let me fix a mistake. Oh, by the way, I made a mistake. Click on the dot, hit fix a mistake. All right, let me put the time symbol in there. Oh, hang on. We'll just leave it like that. Ah, whatever, it's okay. So my computer, and I'll arrange it so it's over here. Make it smaller so people have room. Okay, so now let me arrange this here and arrange this here. I'm going to arrange this over here, and I'm going to put in some directions. I'm going to insert text and say, hey, simplify this, evaluate, I should say, this expression in a way that's different from your partner. Okay, that's what I'm going to say there. So, and I'm going to put this, I'm going to, again, hit arrange. You hit the arrange icon to put it where you want, and you can stretch that out so directions are all there. You can make this nice and neat. Did you know you can drag images in here too? You just drag the image in there, it'll do it. You can format it any way you want. So there it is. Now, what as a teacher, I like to go up here and save my file. We'll talk about saving after, but let's say this is a order of operations demo, and I'll hit save. And now, here's where the magic happens, people. Watch this. Okay. Remember what Susan did? She did the Collaborate Live. What we're going to show now is assigning to student groups. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to take this example. I'm going to create I'm going to create a bazillion groups of 2 probably. There's lots of people watching right now. And you're going to be magically placed with someone else, and you could see someone else working live. But I'm going to show you what I see as a teacher. So I'm going to hit assign the student groups. Now, okay. This is called, I'm going to give the assignment name, enable live collaboration, right? Now, this is pretty cool here. Now, I can have classes in Graspable Math. Like if you use Google Classroom, you can sync your Google Classroom to GM. We'll show you how to do that later, but let's not ask that question now. We're gonna get through this first. All right. But if I have some Graspable Math classes I had from like 2 schools ago or something like that, these are actually Google Classroom classes. You see that icon there? But I'm gonna make it a public session so anybody can join. Now, look at this. I want my target group size to be 2. But see, Graspable Math will do the division for you. All right. So it's like, I want my target group size to be 2 people, right? Which I think is good. Now I can allow voice conferencing within groups. So I'm not going to do it tonight, but I can actually enable you to talk to somebody, right? To the person you're with. All right. I've done that in classes, and the microphones and the were there. But but anyhow, you could allow voice conferencing if you're not doing a Google Meet thing, right? But now watch this. I'm going to hit assign. Target group size is 2. So now, where is everybody? Oh, wait, I got to give you the link. So as a teacher, what I do is I'm going to go to copy invite link. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is what I'm going to put. This is right now is what I'm going to put in the StreamYard chat. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second. I am going to put in chat. Please come and join. And here is the link right there. That is the student link. I want to get as many people in here as we can. Now, when I was talking to Eric, one of the coders in Graspable Math, he was a little nervous because, yes, nobody teaches a class size of 250 people, but, it might go slow because of the huge volume. But for a class of 30 or less, it's quick. All right, guarantee it. So let's see. I'm going to show.
Some
I'm going to show you.
professors at universities might teach 200 kids. So I'm just saying.
That's true. But hopefully the pre-algebra classes there aren't that big, because students need remedial credit there or whatever. But let's check it out here. So I'm going to actually go back. Look at this. These people are ungrouped. All these people, Chris C. So I'm going to add you to. I'm going to add. Oh, I'm going to actually hit auto. This will actually auto group you guys. How many groups do you want to create? Oh gosh, I don't know. We might have more than 1 people in a group, but let's just do it to the. Let's just do it to the max. I'm just going to go to the max here. But watch this. I'm going to group students randomly. But here's what we can do. Right? Now, Chris, look at what I see. Chris, see, Wendy's in a group. So look at this. Now I want to show you what I see here. Chris and Zane are in a group. Deidre and Sue are in a group. Aaron's in a group by herself. Poor Aaron. You know what, Aaron? I'm gonna put Wendy with you. Okay, so see how Aaron's in group 3? So I'm gonna take Wendy here, and we'll put Wendy in group 3. So now she can work together with Aaron. Okay. Now, you know what? I think I put too many groups here. So Barbie, yes, I'm gonna move you to group 4. See, you could move people around any way you want. Okay, maybe people just watching here. But let's move this student to group 5. We'll move Lewis to group 5. You see what I mean? You see, you could be flexible on the fly. So if you're in a group all by yourself, I'll try to group you in there. Look at this. I can watch to see what people are doing live. All right, you're talking, you two. Can you actually do the math now? No, I'm just kidding. He's like, but I could see this. It's pretty powerful. I'm going to make my screen bigger here so you can see what I see. But as a teacher, I could also, look what else I can do. I can move it to a grid view. or something like that. Now I'm probably, sorry, let me just zoom out here for a second. There we go. Look at the 17 people have joined so far, and look at this. Did you know that I can actually enter, and I can actually enter any board? So I'm going to enter Zane and Chris's group right here. Watch this. As a teacher, I can join. I could join any group that I want at any time. And look at this. I'm going in there, and I'm going to say, I could do my check mark in there, I'll say nice, or type it in, right? Now watch this. Chris, you see this, right? Zane, you see this too? But now I can go back to the teacher. See? It's all there. All right.
And it's nice when you're like, when you've got group work, you can back up and you can quickly see which groups are not doing anything. You can quickly see which ones are kind of getting crazy with the, you know, like I'll have kids just drawing all over the canvas and not doing anything. And so, you know, you can kind of interject when you need to. It's kind of sweet.
Yeah. And I'm sorry. I'm not sure I moved. I just did something. I'm sorry that, but I can move you to group. I can move you to group 9. We could pair you guys up, but there's a more efficient way to do it. See, now you can also actually have the students join ahead of time, and you can actually form your groups before they even like start. Okay. This is a beta feature. They're still working on this and improving this for sure. But I know there's people here. Jen, I'll put you at Laura. I'll move you to group 13. You know what? But I can go ahead and do this right here. We'll make a group of 3 there. All right. You see what I'm saying? I chose way too many groups, obviously, but this is pretty powerful. So collaborative group work, this is the equivalent of Google's like making a copy for every student, but what you're really doing is you're making copy for the same groups of students. Like, you know, like students A and B are in a group, students C and D are in a group, right? And you could do something like that, you know, and at any time, look at this. I can actually see how I'm looking at the thumbnail. I can actually mess with who's in here. I can mess with Aaron and Wendy's, and look at this. I can actually mess their work up and do this. I could say, whoa, hold on a second. I want you to go back to this line and try it again. And both those 2 students. So I didn't even have to enter the group in order to mess with it, if that makes sense, in order to intervene or maybe give my feedback, if you will. Now, if I want to give specific feedback, I'm going to join their group and say, hey, you know, what could you do differently if they did something wrong? Not that they didn't do nothing wrong, but you know what I mean. That's the power there. It's amazing. Hey, stop. Is that Aaron? I'm messing with Aaron. Yeah, it probably
That's
is.
great.
It was Wendy. I'm
That's
sorry.
awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. But it's really cool. So that's the power. Now, I want to point you guys to the attention because I know we're kind of running out of time in the first hour here because we have a couple still more we want to show you, which what Susan and I are probably going to do is like do a little more here and we'll do a little less time with the other part because the other part's actually easier. But in the Google Slides, all right, in the slide there, Deidre, if you could put that URL back up that was before, the tiny URL, so people could see it, that'd be awesome for those that have joined late. On slide 5, this is what Susan showed you is here in like a minute silent demo. In the collaborative groups, that was a lot in a little time. Graspable Math has videos on their YouTube channel that are like 3 minutes long. You see it step by step, and they have words at the bottom so you can follow along. So what we just showed you in a very quick thing, I think I did auto grouping. That's what I should not have checked auto grouping. What I should have done is actually done manual grouping, which I could actually show you again because I think teachers don't really like the randomization so much. I think they like more of the auto. They want to create their own. So I'm going to open that original activity again. Okay. Now, if I go back and hit rewind for a couple seconds and assign it to student groups. All right. I should have unchecked this box right here. Do not auto assign when a student joins. That was probably my mistake.
Group.
Right. So now I could do it manually. So watch this. Now I hit assign. It gives you a brand new code. So let's try this one more time. We're not going to do the whole thing again because we don't have time. I'm going to copy the invite link, go back to StreamYard, hide my screen so you don't see all that garbage. And now say, let's try this one quickly. So if you could just humor us here and go to that brand new student session that I just created. Okay. Watch the difference here now. Okay. Let's see. It ends in RYO9G.
So you join. All right,
Yep.
I'm on join.
Okay. See now, teacher, say I have a class of 5. See how Chris, Wendy, Aaron, Eden, Aaron, Jen here. I can actually click on this name. I can add a group. I'm gonna add groups that I need. You know, so if I have a class of 24 kids in my planning period, I'm just gonna be like, okay, well, I want to group Colleen with Wendy. So I'm gonna move her to group 1, and Wendy, I'm gonna move to group 1. You see what I mean? And I'm gonna pair up Chris and Mrs. C together. So Chris and Mrs. C are gonna go to group 2. And I'm gonna put Deidre in group 3 with Katie in group 3. You see what I mean? And as soon as a student is moved in a group, they can start working on that. I apologize, teachers. I should have showed you that first instead of the auto, because the auto does, like, maybe you want to do an auto. Auto saves the work for you, in essence, if you will. You know, but maybe for a class of like 100, sure, you can do auto. But right now, in a class of 24, I think teachers are more intentional. They want to actually determine what the groups will be by themselves. And look at this. See, Katie and Deidre are working hard on that one. They did it again. Kudos, A+, right? But that's how you could do it, by turning the automation off, is leaving that checkbox off, if you will. Okay, so that shows you how to create in those right there. All right, and so yeah, before we start the second hour, let's go back to that third Google slide there. And Susan, you want to go ahead and share your screen and show the quadratic equation for emphasizing operations with the quadratic formula?
Okay, so
I think we could do that.
Yeah.
Go ahead and share your screen there.
All right.
All right, so there we go.
All right, I'm at math.new.
Oh no, so if you go back to the Google slides, the link is in there. You know what I mean?
All right, you've already
slides
given me
presentation.
one, so I'm sorry. I was going to start over.
That's okay. Quadratic equation.
All right.
What's your name? Yep.
Okay, so here we are with a typical quadratic equation, and the dragging feature is in full effect here. So I'm going to go ahead and take advantage of that. And I'm going to, don't want to do that. I'm going to put this in what we call standard form. I think some books call this general form. But this is in standard form. So in order to use the quadratic formula, they would have to use standard form. And I'll show you what I mean. Down here at the very bottom of the screen, it's kind of tucked away. And if you used this a long time ago, these formulas were on the top right, way long ago. But they've moved them since to the bottom. So if you'll click on the little arrow next to the word formulas, it will pull up this giant collection.
A lot.
And I mean, I haven't even begun to start on the Trig. I'm like, wow. If I'd had that when I was teaching Trig, I can't even imagine. But the quadratic formula is right here. And so I'm going to grab this expression, which is in standard form. So you kind of want to make sure it looks like that. And you're going to drag it and pull it up here, and this will turn blue. Now, let's say a student decides they want to use the quadratic formula, but they didn't put it in standard form. And you'll notice when I go to that first one, it's not going to work because it's not in standard form. But as I let go, notice it replaced all the variables in the formula, or the ABC, with the coefficients 10, -13, and 3. And then you go about simplifying. And the order of operations still are in effect. So they can do it wrong and see, oh, not that first. I've got to multiply first. Okay, so I need to subtract next. And then I need to square root, multiply. And then here's where it gets interesting. Since it has a plus minus, you double tap and it will basically create two separate equations, one with the plus, one with the minus, and then you separate those, and then you can continue on with that. So the answer is 6/20. You can tap on that to simplify it and leave it as 3/10. Or if you prefer the decimal answer, you can do a decimal answer. Oh, it doesn't like that. Do we not have that turned on?
It should work if you double click. Just double click on the fraction bar. There you go.
Yeah, it worked. Yeah. All right. So you can do a 10th, or you can say, nah, I don't think I want that. I think I'd rather go back to this step. So I'm going to click here and go back to this line because I remember my teacher told me to leave it as a fraction. So I'm going to leave it. Another thing I sometimes do is I rearrange all this because it's a little busy, and I might put this over here and put the or here. I might add a graph. So there's all kinds of things you can do once you get to that point. But that's about it for the quadratic formula.
Yeah, and again, we'll do a trig identity. We promised we'd solve a system. I have one ready to go. Cows and chickens in a barn, right? Those typical system and linear equations questions. You know, I like to, you know, do the emoji thing. You ever see those Instagram emoji, or they're on TikTok, whatever? It's like, you know, 4 hamburgers and 2 sodas cost so many dollars. I don't know what it is, but man, students get it better. They understand it conceptually better when it comes to emojis and emoticons versus like X's and Y's. And if that's the case, we'll use what works, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, Mathagon's great for that too. I mean, David Forrest and Ada Adamir, they'll be showing us a lot of that next week, but with balance scales and stuff. But right here, let me actually, if I could screen share for a second.
Yeah, hold on a second. Wait a second.
I'm sorry.
Let me show them one more thing. Another thing I like to do is have them graph to check. So, which of course it's right. I mean, that's the thing. It's going to be right. But let me move this out of the way because I got this graph in the wrong spot. But I can actually just drag and I do this a lot with Desmos too, is I just take the original equation, or then take that one, and it's basically showing these 2 points. So 0.3, which is our 3/10, and our 1. So they can see a graphical representation of the solutions.
Right.
Just something you might want to check out. That's it.
Absolutely. And so, yeah, it's really cool. And also we'll do a system, we'll do a trig identity quick, and then we'll take a break. Then we'll go to the next part. All right. And honestly, yeah, we'll go with that. So let me go back here. Let's go back to the Google Slides thing. All right. Let's talk about cows and chickens in a barn, shall we? The typical thing there. Let me just copy this because for some reason Google is not letting me, it's not highlighting everything. I don't know why. But let me go to a new tab here. Weird. But anyway, there it is. It's my whiteboard. Okay. Oh, I have to go to another one here. So let me.
You ready for me to add it in the stream?
Sure. Well, you could get it. I think you could totally get this one. It's the one under cows and chickens in the Google Slides. Yep. All right. So right here, right, there's cows and chickens in a barn. I count 100 heads, 246 legs. So I talk conceptually with kids. It's like, well, gosh, how do you, whatever. So I like to have them guess and check, right? Well, how many legs does a cow have? I mean, again, the pedagogy comes with it, right? But when we solve it formally after, it's like, how algebraically? Well, let's go right here, right? If I can go ahead and do my text there. You know, let's let X equal the number, since we love X and Y, so let's X is the number of cows, right? And then let's let Y be the number of chickens. So I keep track of what I want to do, right? Make a little note to myself. So how do I translate head count as 100? Well, insert expression. Well, that's X plus Y equals 100, right? Yeah. Okay. And now, what about the other one? Oh, so click on the white. Let's see. Well, every cow has 4 legs. So it's 4 times the number of number of cows times 4 plus number of chickens times 2, right? That's 246. I mean, again, if students could get this by guessing and checking, it's logic, really, you know. Let's arrange this. Go here. Okay. Move it here, move it up here. I love arrange. It's great. All right, so let me hit transform again. I'm going to make my window smaller so we can see it now. So which equation looks simpler? Well, this one. Well, how do we get one variable by itself, right? We could take it, put it over here, right? And now this is powerful. I could take this y, right? I ask kids, where else do you see a y here? Not here. Now, I see it right here, right? So what? If I drag this over here, look what happens. It'll actually substitute. Now, let me undo for a second, because there's some questions there. Those in the eyes here. Let me arrange, put that back, right? But you know what? There's nothing. Graspable math will not stop a student from doing this. If you want to do that, oh, actually, it will. Sorry. Oh, it actually put a y in for x, even though that's not true. So Graspable is not going to stop them from making that mistake. that conceptual mistake, that algebra. Actually, that's an algebraic mistake. But so you want them to learn from the mistake. So where do you see? I can even take the 100 and take the minus x and just physically put it where. See, I could actually take that and put it where y is. I think that's more meaningful, right? But now I can go ahead and do it. I can go ahead and do it. Let Graspable do what it does. Oh, can't do that, and I can't. Oh yeah, I can actually put this right on top of it. It'll do it. Students figure that out too. I don't tell them right away. I actually have students move it next door to the like terms, and so it reinforces that in their brain. But some students figure out, oh, I could just drop the x's on the x's. It'll do the arithmetic, right? And so here we go. And, last but not least, we'll subtract. And it looks like there's 23 cows or something like that, right? Move this up. There we go. Okay, there's 23. Is x the cows? Yeah, there's 23 cows, right? How many chickens are there? Well, just 100 minus 23. But again, algebraically, we can just go ahead and substitute it in there, right? And then we got 77. I think I did that right. Did I solve that right? Could have sworn I got maybe, I don't know. But it's late.
That's a lot of cows and chickens. I'm just saying.
It is.
For one barn.
Yeah. But usually I usually do the same problem, but usually I get a different number, but maybe I messed up one of the original numbers. But anyway, but that's how you could solve a system there. Now, if teachers ask, can you solve a system by elimination? The answer is yes, but right now you have to have two equations and you have to type a separate one to add them manually. Before you have to add them manually. Before it was like E1 plus E2 when you got one set of coefficients to be opposites and you add them. But I could multiply this one by -4, like here. For example, let me undo a bunch of times. Let me actually go back to this line. I could click on this equation right here. And I could do -4 times E, right? So, and I could distribute that through, right? And I could take this and copy it right down here, right? So teachers like, hey, Tim, what I want to do is add these on both sides. Can it add this and this? It used to be able to, but at the moment it cannot. So what a student would have to do is insert it manually. So obviously they would have to know, okay, well, gosh, these add up to 0, right? And I have this, I type a brand new equation now, -2i equals whatever. Okay. So can you solve it with elimination? Yes, you can. But right now there's not a way to automate the adding of two equations to have Graspable do all the work. The students have to complete the circuit, if you will. But when you solve by substitution, it's beautiful. It works amazing. All right. Just to show you that.
Yeah.
What else we have? Let's do a trig ID and take a break. So for those of you that teach trig, it's not everybody. Why is it going back to that? Let me just copy it quickly. I'll put it in the other one. All right, copy it and let's paste it in the other tab here. Sorry. It's going to say it's owned by somebody else, which is the other account there, but let's see. Here we go. Let's prove that this identity holds true for every value of x, every angle. So right here, I'm looking for, well, gee, I know tangent is sine over cosine, right? So you see this one right here? I could actually take this tangent one here and I could replace that with sine over cosine. And I could do the same thing over here. I see a tan x, that's sine over cosine, right? Again, isn't it a popular strategy to get everything in terms of sine and cosine? Because those are the simplest trig functions, right? Well, what has to happen? Well, 1 divided by its reciprocal, 1 divided by it's going to be the reciprocal, right? So I can move that up there and see that. But now, how do I add two fractions, right? Well, if I click on that, right? Oh, I got to get like denominators. Let's double click on it. Wow, what just happened? Now, I want you teachers to know that I don't just let students get away with it. I want them to actually explain to me, how did they get that? What's going on here? You see, Graspable Math is a learning tool, especially when COVID hit us and we're all remote and hybrid. And it's like, there are high school students that struggle how to add fractions. And you teachers watching know what I'm saying. It's true, right? There's seniors that they struggle. But here, this could help bridge the gap, right? And help us see why. Well, gosh, there's a multiplying by some form of 1, aren't I? Sin x over sin x. Graspable can help them see the y as they do it. And now the rest of it, well, hold on a second. Cosine times cosine is cosine squared. Sine times sine x is sine squared. And now, see how I have like denominator now? Now I can add those. Holy moly, look at that. But wait a minute, something here really looks familiar, right? That's a popular Pythagoras would be like having a heart attack if I didn't do this, right? Sine squared plus cosine squared, isn't that 1? Where's that identity right here? It's somewhere over here. Ah, there it is. See? The 3 Pythagorean ones are there. So whenever they see an occurrence of that, we can take it up there. Boom. QED. And a big smiley face to go with it. Yeah. All right. But again, Graspable teachers, it's game changing. It really is. That was the first hour. So what we're going to do is take a 5-minute. It's 10:10. We'll take a 5-minute break. So at 15 past the hour, we'll come back and we'll start exploring Graspable Math activities, where you can assign tasks to students and see all their work live in real time. So stay tuned. That part is coming up. We'll be right back. I think it's 15 minutes past. We back? Can you hear me? We good? Awesome. I think Susan, you're muted. I think.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. So I know there were some questions. I think Deidre said about the scrub feature. There were people that were asking. Sometimes to answer with the scrub, it's not changing the coefficients on me. Sometimes you just make sure the scrub tool is being pressed. Make sure you have that selected. But I've tested it on iPads. It works very well on phones and on iPads and stuff. Graspable does work. If there's a certain device that you're asking questions, put it in the chat, and I could ping the developer. I can ask developers in the mornings, have them test it and see. Because I have a relationship with the creators and stuff. They're really awesome people. David Landy, Aaron Ott, and Eric Wheatnar. They're working hard on that to make improvements. It's really cool. So what they're coming up with and they're working on. So if there's something you're finding, throw it in the chat there. And Deidre, if you can make a note in the private chat, if I don't see it, that'd be great. Okay.
Mary Miss or Myri Miss had a question about like the blue and the black, but she says she's finally got it working. So that is good news. Yep. If you just keep playing with stuff I found, or especially if you're with your kids, have your students figure it out and tell you, because that is how I have learned just about everything I know.
Exactly.
And it is kind of device specific. I mean, some mice don't work as well as others, and some trackpads don't work as well as others. So I've kind of learned just playing with it. It works well on all my devices, but that's because I don't know. I make sure that stuff works. Yeah.
Cool.
Just keep playing until you figure it out is the best thing to do.
That's right. And honestly, I've learned so much more graspable for my students than I have just playing with myself. You know, teachers like, oh, you can learn a lot. I learned a lot of GeoGebra tricks from my students, way more than I would have discovered it. Seriously. It's amazing.
Can you scrub on inequalities? You can. You guys showed that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Or equations, anything.
Yep. Totally. So we're ready to start the second hour now. Here, teachers, this is what we're going to do this hour is kind of like Graspable Math's version of Desmos Activity Builder. For those of you familiar with Desmos activities, maybe you create your own custom ones. You know, here we're going to show you how to make your own custom-made Graspable Math activities. And I honestly believe that it's actually easier to create them yourself than find stuff from other people. Some may disagree, but when you see how simple it is, you know what, as you work as a department, divide and conquer, or you get inequalities, expressions, equation, you can create a boatload of resources for your own department and like a cohort of algebra teachers very, very quickly. So in the second hour,
you can take someone's activity, make a copy, and make changes to it. So you don't have to start from scratch. If you're kind of not good at that sort of thing, feel free to take somebody's and make it your own.
Exactly. So in slide 9, I have a way where you can sync your Google Classroom classes to it. It's that, you know, that one thing you do a year where you got to sync your Google Classroom to whatever, whatever platform you're using. You do it once a year for Desmos. You know what I mean? You do it once a year for whatever, Mathagon. You could do it once a year for Graspable Math too, so that when you create a student session, it goes directly to your Google Classroom. If you use Canvas or Schoology or Moodle, or if you use something else at the moment, what you have to do is create classes in Graspable Math itself. You take an Excel roster of the names, import it in. It's done in 2 seconds. But there's videos here that show you how to do that. We're not going to waste time doing that. We're just going to focus on making a session public. Teachers, if you use Desmos and you've had trouble with just getting your own classes, just make a public session the first day or two. Have the kids type in the code and boom, they're in. That's all you need. And that's all we're going to do tonight here. Okay? So what Susan and I want you to do is actually, if you go to slide 11, all right, click here to join that sample session, if you will. And what I'll do, Deidre, is throw it in the chat as well. So I'm the teacher. This is my teacher view here. But let me give you, let me give you this there. So Deidre, if you could take this and just copy that URL from this slide right there and put it in the chat, that would rock. Okay. And what I'll do is I'm going to stop. Yeah, KDG is already in. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop screen sharing here, and I'm going to let, I'm actually going to let Susan take over. All right. Let me remove my screen here. Susan, you could take over screen sharing. And right there. So could you go to where it says, Yeah, do
Right.
you want to actually go in can you go in as a student, or are you just going to preview it like that? You could, yeah,
I was
preview
just
it there.
going to
That's fine.
preview. Is that cool?
That's cool.
All right, so I'm looking at this activity. This is kind of what you would see as a teacher if you're previewing your activities. It really looks the same except for this bar up here. And so the first canvas is basically the same problem that we did right before the break that Tim did. So anything you've already created in a whiteboard, you can basically put it in to an activity for your kids to use at a later time or again. But I'm going to go ahead and go to the second one. Oh yeah, I
So
wanted to point this
if I
out.
could
The
interject a
submit
comment
button
here,
down here, I probably need to talk about that.
yeah. Oh, can I interject first? I'm not sure if I was clear, but
Go
ladies
ahead.
and gentlemen, what we're doing right now is you're experiencing graspable math activities as a student. Where you're going
Yeah.
to see a few There's only 6 different task types. You know how Desmos has a ton of them. They have marble slides. They have ordered lists. They have like graphing calc. Desmos has got a gazillion. Now they just have Mathagon. Man, I was supposed to prepare for
Yeah.
this thing, and like Susan's
The
like, Tim,
worst
hurry up! I'm
possible
like, dude, you got to
timing.
get it done. It's like Desmos just dropped that news that Mathagon's in there. I stopped my Graspable work and I had to go there and play with it. But
Such a
honestly,
distraction.
I know. But what we're
Don't
doing right
tell
now,
me.
I know. But what we're doing right now is you're experiencing graspable math activities from a student perspective. We're going to take
Yes.
10 to 15 minutes to have you fully immersed in what it's powerful and capable of from the student side. And for the last part of the hour, what we're going to do is show you how we built this activity from scratch. It seems
Yeah.
complicated, but I'm telling you, it's super easy. So
Super
continue, Susan.
easy.
I'm sorry.
All right, so
Yep.
this first one is a canvas. So the students would do their work here, and we've actually already shown this one, so we're not going to do it. But once they've done their work here, they would click on this button, submit. And when it does, notice this green bar little button appears next to canvas, which is what they just did. And it's telling you the task is finished. It's not telling you it's correct. You would need to go look at their work and see if they did everything they needed to do for that task. Now, notice also when I clicked submit that it automatically advanced to the next thing. And so this happens for the kids.
Yep.
It'll automatically go to the next thing. And this is
And
a
can I
typical
interject before you?
simplify the expression. Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Before, can I interject? I want people to see my screen now so they can see what they drew. Because I mean, I want them to see the teacher side as well,
Okay.
if you don't mind, because we can't. Unfortunately, we can't share both our screens at the same time. I wish we could. I apologize for interrupting. But right here, people like the teacher view right here. If you can see what I'm thinking here, this is what everybody's thumbnail looks like. See what I mean here? So I can see that Mike started doodling there. Mike, if you go to insert and hit expression, you could actually type it without the handwritten thing. You know what I mean? Click on insert expression. See what I mean? Some people drew smiley faces. Some people did stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? But I could see student work live in real time. If one is like as people start doing stuff, I'm seeing you work live. This is the assigned work right here. Okay, I can see 17 students have joined. All right, and so that's kind of what I have here. And at the second task now, which this is the second task now, I see student steps, but this is what Susan is now going to walk you through right here. All right,
Okay.
so go
So
for it.
when you go to the second task, this is a goal state. It's probably the most popular one for a lot of reasons. It's easy for you to score these because they're self-scoring. But the kids can do their little graspable math. I just distributed my negative, and now I'm going to distribute my 2. And if you'll tap on the negative, it will distribute also. You can tap on an operation, a symbol to perform the operation. Of course, if they tap on something like that, it won't combine. Let's see here, it will. And then I can drag over and put it on top. I can drag over here and put it on top. And then I got the answer. And notice the number of steps is here. And sometimes I'll challenge my students, don't do 30 steps. Let's do, 6 steps or 8 steps. And then they can reset and start again if it took them too long or if they made a mess. Sometimes they do make a mess. And so they might want to start over because they've done some things that don't make sense and it's gotten worse instead of better. So notice again, though, when I finished and got this green, that's indicating it's correct. And over here on the left side, it's also showing a check mark. So the kids know when they see the green without the check mark, it means it's complete, but the green with the check mark is complete and correct. So they're going to continue to the next goal state. So this time you may notice there is no goal visible to the kids. That is a goal state problem though. So there is a specific solution that's needed, but you're not seeing it yet. So they just know they need to solve for X. And so what I'm going to do is go ahead and distribute my 6. And I'm going to subtract my 12. And then combine like terms. And then I will subtract my 4x. And then I will divide by my 2. All right. And then I know it. I got the answer because it turned green. So at that point, I'm good. If it wasn't right, I might have to, rearrange this. But so once that happens, I can continue to the next goal state.
And you know what's really interesting, Susan? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's really interesting too, it's like during I was teaching a lot of middle school credit recovery last year in several schools here in Connecticut, and it's when I use this platform, and it's funny when you have a kid solving an equation, you see 7 steps, 6 steps, and then you see one with 84 steps, where you can see it on the screen. If I just check this out. So if just to show you teachers here, right? If you actually go to the thing here, if I could see Mike took 9 steps, Chris took 10 steps, Wendy took 11 steps, Katie took 10 steps. You see, I can actually click on any student's work and see what exactly they did, right?
Yeah.
And I could see if I could see this changing live as well. So when I see the student that has 80 steps, I walk over to that student. That helps me diagnose immediately. Now think of how much more powerful and effective that is than just passing out a piece of paper with these on it. You won't know unless you walk around the room, and it's more inefficient. But here, it's it saves time, and it's a game changer, and you could address misconceptions with kids immediately. I walk up to that student and I say, can you please tell me why this 30-second Hulu commercial is taking 5 minutes? And they're like,
yeah. And it's I'll interject something that's kind of funny. I had a kid in my Algebra 1 class last year, and he was taking 30 steps to do something. And I saw it. I kind of noticed it. I was like, wow. And then lo and behold, as soon as I saw it, I noticed he had sent me a note in my LMS. I can't figure this one out. So I knew immediately what he was talking about. So I could address his, okay, this is where you're kind of getting off track here. So let's go back to this step and let's talk about it. So I could help that child very specifically solve his problem. So it was very helpful. Right. But let me go on to this one. Are you seeing my screen?
Oh yeah, you're sharing.
Okay. This is a quadratic, and so they didn't have this feature either a while back. I guess a year ago. I don't think we had the plus minus, and so I was always going, how are we going to do this? But now we can solve quadratic equations. I'm going to do this one that's just using inverse operations. So I'm going to go ahead and divide by my 3. And I can take a square root. Notice we have the square on the left. So if we drag to the right, it's going to take the square root of both sides.
Can I ask you to undo that for a second? Because there's some teachers have been asking. It's well, now I want to let teachers know here, if you want to emphasize inverse operations for this whole activity, you can disable the dragging across equal sign. So
let me do it the other way so they can see it. Let me tap on the equal sign, and if I tap on the equal sign, instead of doing that, I can actually take the square root of the E. See? And it's going to take the square root of both sides. So you can do it that way, and you can drag the 2 over. It's probably smarter to do it that way to start, and then show them the little cool thing about dragging the 2 over, because they may not quite understand why that's working. Of course, that didn't work because it didn't give me the plus minus.
Well, that might be a bug. Ooh.
Yeah, I think it is a bug. So I'm going to go ahead and do it the old-fashioned way, because I do want my plus minus. But let's go ahead and tap on we need to tell the developers that too, huh? Well, and then you can add this. And then you can double tap, and that's going to separate it into both. So they'll have to know that. That is a gesture you have to teach them. But I did it in 10 steps. I probably could do better. So I'm going to click reset and do it real fast. Add the 4. Divide by the 3. Square root. Add 5. Oops, messed up.
You know what?
Yep.
And double click. But I think there is a plus or minus in that equal sign. Can you go back a couple steps? This is now we're kind of like debugging on the fly. Let's hit undo for a second. It's like I'm a little nervous doing this, but that's okay because people are curious. Let's go back one more and right there. Let's click out. Let's do the inverse operations now. Pretend it's disabled, right? Let's hit equals. Now, is there a plus or minus in there? I could have sworn there was in that menu.
That's why I couldn't do it.
All right, now
Makes
what
you
if you did?
separate them.
Let's do square root of e again. So let's do the square root there, and let's hit enter. But what if you actually take the 2 in the square root there? What if you drag the 2 to the square root? Like it'll undo itself? Yeah. Like no, like could you drag the 2 up there? Or click on the square root? Try clicking on the square root symbol. Does that work?
Absolute value.
It will work. Now
There
click
you
on the
go,
absolute
will work.
values.
Oops.
Yes, it will. That's nope.
That's cool. But you'd have to teach them that too. I've never even done that.
So let's double click on the absolute value. There it is. I knew it wasn't a bug. There is a way out. It's just a matter of
there's a way out. We just didn't know about it. Yep. It does absolute value. Wow.
There we go.
That took me 19 steps, but hey, it worked. All right.
Well, I asked you to
and
do
then
it.
we're on to you. You're going to do 5. So
right.
we're going to switch over to Tim, and he's going to show y'all the line it up and the hotspot.
Okay. And just to show you what I'm seeing as a teacher, look at all these people. I have 19 people in the class. And so I could see here, all the green checks, I could see everybody in the class who solved it correctly. So if I wanted to, I can go back to Dina here and say, hey, you going to start, whatever. Again, not picking on you, Dina. I know you're watching, but like say, I could actually just say, hey, you know what? For any students that haven't started, I'm like, dude, what are you doing? You know, quickly I could see.
Yep.
I can go to task number 3. You see, we can solve the equations there, see where we're at, right? Now, number 4, you got there, but number 5. So this is an overlay, by the way, but let me actually demo this. I'm gonna go here. So this is actually the scrub feature here. Let me go to line it up. Number 5. This is what you all see. Okay. So now, what you need to do is press that button, and when you do, you will see. Let me just put this over there. You'll see you'll see it there. So again, remember we talked about scrubbing last hour. If you press that number and up and down, you could actually, wow, I'm changing the y-intercept. Let's do it. So that y-intercept is 2, right? Okay. Now I could actually drag this.
And you can just tap and type the number. So if you can't scrub, you can tap and just type a number in. So that,
I could just,
because some kids don't like to scrub.
Ooh. Yep.
Yeah.
Close. Let me make this a -2. Oh, that's not good, huh? But wait, there's a nice point here. Where's the next nice order? Oh, it's like 4 comma. What's the slope there? Rise of 1, run of 4. Oh, that should be a 1/4, huh? 1. And I could move this up and down. Let's scrub it to 4. Let's see.
Whoop, almost. Ooh, there you go. Got it.
I got the green. The green is good. All right. And so now I could see right there what I want to see there. And on my dashboard, on my teacher dashboard, I will see all the students that graphed it correctly, and I can see the students still at work. Like for example, right here, if I go to Aaron, if you're Aaron, if you're there, could you actually click on that button? Let's see. I could actually watch Aaron work live. Clicking on Aaron here. She's in Massachusetts, but maybe she took a break. But you could actually click on. Oh, she's there. Thank you, Aaron. Let's see, as Aaron changes the graph, go ahead, Aaron, why don't you scrub a little bit? I can watch your work up close. It will change live. Might take a few seconds, but it's pretty fast. It will change once she gets it. See, Aaron's working. She made a slope of 0 right there. Thank you, Aaron. All right, glad you're paying attention. No, just kidding. Sorry, Aaron.
No pressure.
Poor Aaron, I'm picking on her. But yeah, let's see, like right there, it's what we have there. But let's actually go to the next one. I think that's a quadratic, right? Teachers, I've done this with trig graphs. I've had kids discover what A, B, C, and D do in graphs of trig equations, right? I've had them play with this to try to get it, especially like 5 sine 2x minus 3 plus 5. It's like, well, they get the D value, the midline value, and they get the amplitude. But what is that? Like, this could be a great discovery activity for them. You give them. I made a warm up of like maybe 15 of them, And I thought it would take 15 minutes, but it took the whole like 45. But you know what? There was some deep talk going on. There were conceptual connections and clicks being made, prior knowledge. I let the kids take over. It was beautiful. It was awesome. But for this one right here, number 6. So this is the same thing, but now with a parabola. See what I mean? Now I could change this. Normally I like to start. Notice how when I started, I can actually start with the parent function x squared. I'll show you how to do that in a little bit. But notice it started randomly right here. But I could take this, try to move it. Oh yeah, that HK thing, like subtracting from an input moves it right. This moves it up and down, right? Oh yeah. There we go. Now, let's move the hotspot. Hotspot is my favorite graspable math task. There's only 6 different types. Remember, Desmos has got a gazillion, right? Marble slide, this, that. In graspable math, there's only 6 different task types so far. All right. Now, hotspot is a way you can have kids analyze mistakes. So if you look at the picture of the equation that I have here, right, there's a mistake. And I'll ask students, can you find the mistake here? It's like, oh, what is it? You know, it's like right there, but it's late at night here in the East Coast. It's right here, right? So what I did is that if you drag that marker, I want you to drag that marker over the place you think the mistake is, right? And then explain what the student did wrong and incorrectly, and how can she fix it? She forgot to distribute fully. Now, if a student was stuck, guess what? I provided a workspace, a graspable workspace for them so they can actually solve the problem. That's easy to put in there as well. Oh, I see it. It should have been a 4, right? But watch this. If I check it now, it turns green. But now look at the teacher dashboard for this. This is cool. What I see as a teacher, oh my gosh, it's amazing. Hang on, let me see here. Look at that. This is where everybody, this is where, if any one of you moves your dots over, I'll see it in a matter of like seconds. And I could see where all of you have your dots. See, I could see Mike, Chris's, Miss Mari's, Katie, Wendy. I could see everybody's location, and I could see there. And actually, I could see that Katie actually put it here first and here first, right? And then she chose to put it there, and that's okay. I like to see student thought process, right? It's pretty cool. Aaron, come on, Aaron. Really? No, I'm just kidding. But see, Aaron moved it over, right? Poor Aaron's like, right? Look at her. But right here, but it's cool though. And I could see the check, the X, whatever. Again, this is formative assessment. Now, I will throw this out there that if you can actually make this more of a summative thing, like you could actually disable the green from showing up from the student in the settings for an activity. I'll show you a session. I'll show you that later. But for the most part, it's formative. You know, this should inform the student and informs the teacher, as you see here on my screen. This is like the Desmos overlay up here, right? You see what I'm saying? Like right here. Let me just go a little out. This right here, this shows where everybody's stuff is, and I could see everybody's work right here and their explanations. All right, let's go to task 8 here. This one's different because now you can actually have up to 10 hotspots if you want. Okay.
Hey Tim, quick question. How close do you have to be with your dot? Is a question in the chat.
You could be pretty liberal. I'll show you that. I know we have 20 minutes left, but when we build it, I'm going to show you that really quickly.
Thank you.
The next you're welcome. The next hotspot has like a bunch of errors. So I want you to drag the dot on every spot you see a mistake now. Okay, like the first line is correct. Let's assume the first line is correct. But starting in the second line, where did I mess up? Oh, dude, that's wrong right there. You can't add before you multiply, silly. Right? And look at you'd made the same mistake again. You added first. This is totally not cool, right? And of course, you know, why do I pick the example of a 420? I would never do this in school, but you know, it's funny. But anyway, again, I put the workspace there for the students if they need it, you know, whatever. But notice how I hid the explanation. I did not require an explanation here, but if I hit check, I'll get the 3 greens. There are 3 green dots. If students don't get all the dots, they won't see the green light or the green dots, if you will. You got to get every one. Okay. And I could see as a teacher, let me go to task 8 here, hotspot, right? I could see there's a few students that got it correctly. Right there. Sorry, my computer's a little slow and laggy here. But see, look, this is a lot more, right? You see how you guys are scattered out in your thinking here? There's a lot of you that put dots here, here, here. A lot of you knew the 12 was wrong and the 7 was wrong, and a bunch of you still said the 5. But I could see who put what where. For example, Mike hit submit right here. So that's why the big circles are there. Chris, you'll put in there, but see, Chris put them. Now, see, Chris probably misunderstood the directions. I mean, that happens to my students all the time. Sometimes I, as a teacher, I got to be more clear, right? So I should say starting in the first, right? Starting in the second row, I should have said, find any mistake in second row and any row beyond, if that makes sense. You see what I'm saying? But that's okay. We're not here to pick out fault. This is a learning experience. I learn, my students learn. We learn together, you know? So I could tell here that Sue is still in, Sue did not hit submit yet, but that's where her markers are currently, if that makes sense. But, you know, Barbie here, like, she did it and she submitted it and she got the 3 green lights, which is cool, right? But if you have geography teachers that are in your building, you could show them that for geography. Time for some trivia time. Can you place the markers over all the states that start and end with the same letter? Ooh, there's 4. I'll give you a hint. There's 4. There are 4 U.S. states that start and stop with the same letter. This isn't just for math, you know, just like Desmos isn't only for math. I've seen English and history teachers use Desmos really well. It's pretty cool. But in this case, you know, now granted, this is a DOK1 question. It's a level thing, but just identify. But this is kind of cool trivia, you know. I think Steve Phelps, when he does webinars with Graspable Math, he'll have his 6th grade. He takes a picture of his 6th grade class and all the. It's like, can you put the marker over where you think my face is? And it's cool. Like, people guess where is it? Which one is Steve at 6th grade? You know. But kind of right here, I'll give you the answers. It's Ohio, Alabama, Alaska. Anybody know the last one?
Arizona.
There you go. I think that'll do it, right?
Oh, and I want to point out, there's one more. You can actually search for an activity in the activity bank that's already there. There's a pretty good one on polynomials, introduction to polynomials. And it has this big table full of all these expressions, and kids have to figure out which ones are binomials, which ones are linear functions, which ones are trinomials and cubic.
Yep.
And it's pretty awesome. So you can use those hotspots to do a lot of fun things.
You got it. All right, Susan, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share your screen now. Let's go ahead and we'll share your screen. So go ahead and go to that tab you want, and I'll throw it up
Okay, the
there.
multiple choice question, last one here. I think this is one I actually did make a long time ago. Which points are solutions to the inequality? So here's the inequality. They're going to choose all that apply. And then down here, they have to put something here, which is tell me how you determine what the solutions are. So if we put a 0 and a 0, then, well, that is less than 6. I'm pretty sure that one works. And then 12 is going to be too big. And then 0, 2, it looks like that one works. This one's too big, and this one's too big. So I substituted the values for the variables and simplified and got a true statement. So I'll just leave that, and then I click check, and then it'll let me know if I got it right. And notice down here it turns green, but it doesn't fill it in like those goal state problems. And that's because you probably want to check this, because they'll put, you'll know. They'll put some nonsensical stuff in there because they don't feel like telling you what they really did sometimes. So that's
Right.
indicating they did get the right answers, but you might want to look at their statements. And then when you get to the last screen, it's going to say this. If there's any of the tasks that they've not completed, it's going to redirect them to go back and check some of your work is incomplete. Go back, take the ones you skipped and do those. So that's kind of cool too. And I guess that's our last one in our little set.
So now we got to show them how to make it, right? I know it's 45. I mean, it might go over by 5 or 7 minutes. We'll try our best, but it's going to be super quick. We'll show you how to make this and then assign it, okay? And then we'll call it a wrap. So, Susan, where do I go to create my own activity like that? Because I really like it. How do I build it myself?
Go to graspablemamath.com, browse activities. You need to log in as a teacher. So if you're not logged in, up at the right-hand corner, click on that, log in, create an account, and then you can get started. Now, here's the activity bank. This is where you explore to find activities. You can type in the topic. You can check here by grade. These are kind of new. They just started this recently. And then my activities, I have lots of activities. If you want to search mine, I might have something for you already. But just click on this little button right here at the top that says create activity and give it a title. This is an activity. I'm just going to put some crazy name and create. And then once you get in here, this is where the fun starts.
The answer to that question
right.
is yes. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. And then these are, if you see this little black line here that says new task type goal state, it defaults to goal state. But if you don't want a goal state, click on this little down arrow and you have these other types. Line it up, canvas, multimedia. We haven't talked about that, but it's really not a problem or a task. It's usually just a place for you to put in a video or some information. If you need to give kids some information about what they're doing, like instructions type thing. But let's go ahead and do a goal state, add task. And let's see, the first goal state that we did, I don't know if I'm going to do that one. Do I want to do that one? I'll just make one up.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's put in an initial state. So we type in an expression. Oh, I'm just typoing all over the place. Sorry about that. So I'm going to have something simple. And then what's really cool, and this is something they've added recently too, they're constantly changing this software to make it better, just so you know. But they give you a suggested goal state. So you may say, I don't want it to be x plus 2. Maybe I want it to be 2 plus x. Then you could turn that around or change it. So you're not stuck with what they give you, but it is kind of nice if it's basic like this problem. You have the option of hiding the goal so the kids don't see it. You can allow commuted answers. So 2 plus x and x plus 2 would both be equally correct. And you can show the formula panels if you want to.
And that answers that question right there.
Yeah.
So,
and then down at the bottom, the instructions down here say simplify, but you could change those to whatever you want. And then I think we're done. And then additional options, you can include a reflection prompt. If you do choose to do the reflection prompt, they will not get credit till they do something. They have to type something. And then you can even set a minimum time on the task. So if they're just clicking through and putting nonsense, you can adjust this up or down if you want to, and then click done. And now you have your type. If you've done a problem and you want to preview, you just click here to see what it looks like for the kids, and you can actually do it like you did a minute ago to see if it's what you expected. I don't have my goal showing here, so, I could turn that. I may change my mind, and it works. So you can exit as you create them. So that's the goal state. Let me do a quadratic. Since we're running short on time, I'm just kind of flying through this part.
It's okay if we go 5. It's okay. We don't. I mean, it's okay if we go 5 or 6 minutes over. If people have to leave, they can watch the rest. When they get it, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this first one, I didn't really do it, but it's the same as the second one, except the second one that we did just a moment ago has the goal invisible, and
we have time. Let's do it. Go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it. Yeah.
Okay.
So it'd be cool to see. Yep. Or can you actually create it on the other one there?
Okay.
Yeah. So let's go to wherever you just were.
I don't know where I am. Hold on.
I know.
Here we are. Okay. So we're going to add a task, goal state type. We're going to put in the initial state.
Any equation, 3x plus 5 equal. It doesn't have to be the same. 3x plus 5
okay,
equals
that's what I was
5.
saying. That going back and forth is kind of hard for me to remember. 3x plus 5 equals. You want me to just do an equation?
Yeah, 2x minus 9, whatever.
Okay, 2x minus 9. And then we're done. This time I'm going to have the goal state visible, so I need to uncheck that. So it does hide it if you don't uncheck it.
And you have to check it to hide it. You have to check it to hide it, I think.
Yeah, hide goal state. Yeah.
And so notice when you select hide goal state, it allows for commuted answers. because it's not like you're trying to be rigid. Oh no, it's got to be x equals 14 or 14 equals x. If you
Yeah,
hide
you
the
can
goal
take
state,
it off though if
who
you want to
cares?
be picky, but
Yeah,
it does automatically do it. That's true.
yeah.
And then we're done. Let's see the next one.
Oh,
Sorry,
can
guys,
we
I'm
do a
going
system
all
of
over the
equations?
place. The one with the quadratic is a
Yeah.
little different, so let's do one of those for sure. So I'm going to add another goal state, and then I'm going to do a quadratic. Doesn't let you do the plus minus on this one, so that's why I wanted to show it to you. And by the way, you can do imaginary numbers, so I'm just going to stick a -1 in here and see what happens. All right, so notice it didn't give me the goal state. So I'm going to have to solve this one out in order to do it. So that I would take the square root of both sides. That's going to give me an I, plus or minus I, and it's going to give me a -3. So I'm going to type x equals -3 plus I. And then I have to do another one. X equals -3 minus I.
So much for keeping it real, huh? You just like to make it too complex.
Yeah. Uh-oh, it didn't let me do it. Let's see, I have to put a comma, I think. Let me see if it'll let me do it.
It's a dad joke.
I'm doing this on the fly because I forgot. Oh, yeah. So you do have to insert a comma between your two solutions.
No. You have to add a goal. Did you add? No. I'm sorry. Go can you get rid of the second one?
See what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot how I did that.
It's okay.
Add a
Right.
goal. I gave both of them in there. So we got -3 plus I, and now I want -3 minus I. Done.
Did you know you can actually do two initial states too, like for the
And
system
I
of
just
equations?
messed up my initial state, so I don't even know what that
Yeah.
was. Is it
Well,
x plus 3? Kind of butchering this problem, guys. Sorry. Let me try it again. X plus 3 squared. No. It's not x equals. Get rid of that.
equals -1, was it?
Yeah. Okay, I fixed it, I think. All right. Definitely would not hide goal state on one like this. Do not do it. And you can, I'll go ahead and just make a reflection prompt for this one. And maybe say, what inverse operations did you use to solve this? So you could add in, something for them to respond to at the end. Okay, so if I preview this one, let's see what that looks like.
Third one.
So,
Yeah,
I'm on the wrong one. So now see, it's got this down here. So I can do this and then tap. I got my eye. See, I've got to separate it. So double tap here. Oh, no. Sorry.
What if
Gotta
you just
double
click
tap
on the
here.
plus minus, I think.
There you
There you
go.
go.
All right, now it's still not right because I had the 3's here and I didn't do the commutative thing, which I should have. Oh, wait a minute. What am I doing?
Yeah, just bring the 3 over.
Did I do it wrong?
And drag the 3 over.
Sorry, guys. I'm putting it on the wrong
Okay.
side of the equation. There we go. And then down here, I would say, well, let's see. I subtracted, or no, I square rooted and subtracted. Square root. Good grief.
So
Subtraction. I mean, square root and, subtract. Then I can
Susan,
submit.
you totally could. If you exit the preview, I want teachers to see something really powerful here. I think people were asking, like, how do I disable something like in the, I want to disable dragging across equal signs for everything here, like to emphasize
Yep.
inverse operations in this entire thing. If you exit the preview there, let's show teachers how to do that.
Okay.
Okay, then I'll show Hotspot and line it up and we'll be done.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
So where you? I've never disabled it.
Yeah, go to the settings there. You see where she clicked that settings gear? You want to go to settings. Click on the settings gear right there. Yep.
And then I
so if
can
you scroll,
disable it
it's
here.
right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you can disable it. You can change your, yeah.
Scrub all this stuff. You scroll. Take time to go through that.
Anything
Teachers,
you
I'm
want
telling
to
you,
do or
it's
not
worth
do
it.
is there. Okay. And you can save
Yep.
changes.
Right.
So there you go.
Right. And now the
Okay.
important piece is, you see that thing up there? It says assign the students.
Yep.
If we assign the students, that teachers is where you can actually, you go ahead. Let's make it, let's just do a thing. I want here, and here's the important piece here. We'll make it a public session for now, but you see where it says assessment mode? Click on that. Assessment mode means that you will see the green as a teacher, but the students will
They
never
won't
see
see
anything
it.
green.
So they
Right.
don't know it's right or wrong. You're seeing
Right.
if they can do it without that. Yeah.
Right. I mean, they probably will know, because there has to be an end goal. They'll know if they don't solve an equation correctly, probably. But it's
Mhm.
like, but at least for if you want to make it more of a summative nature thing, even though to me it's more formative, but whatever. Every teacher makes their own decisions, but
Well, and when
it's
we
an
were
option.
doing COVID, I mean, that was part of the problem. We had to give some summative assessment. So this is, I mean, not that they couldn't get another tab open
Well,
and do it, but you know what I'm saying. At least
I get it. Yeah.
it's just
But
another way to assess.
so
Do you
hit
actually
us,
want to
can you hit
assign
assign?
this?
Yeah. But
Okay.
we won't give it to them. I just want to walk through the workflow. But now there it is. See how she has a teacher dashboard right there? Right? What you want to do, teachers, is go to copy invite link. All right.
Which is up here on
Copy,
the top
you copy
left.
that, and then that's what you could paste into your LMS.
And
Okay.
this, by the way, another way to join, if you go to the main page, graspablememath.com, right here, this code, they can type that in and go to this activity
Right.
that way. So
You got
second
it.
way to get
And I'll also show you the signing to Google Classroom and the thing quickly as well too. So let me I'll screen share now, and
Okay.
let's do Hotspot and line it up, and we'll be almost there. So now I am going to go to activities or graspablememath.com, same thing. You want to go to browse activities right here. That's to get to your stuff. You want to go to browse activities, and it's right up here. My activities. Anything you make is here. Okay. So now, as Susan did, I'm going to create a brand new activity. Okay, right here. Sample 2, I'll call it. Now, Susan just showed you goal state. All right. Now, multiple choice we're not going to bother doing because it's like a Google form. It's like the same logic. We don't have time for that. But I want to show you line it up. Let's add a task. All right. What's the goal graph? Let's suppose I want the students to graph y equals 3/5 x minus 1. Okay. Now, right. And what do you want? I think Richard, who was watching, asked this. What do you want to adjust the coefficients by? Ones, tenths, hundredths, thousandths, or tenths? I want to scrub those numbers by 1, which makes the most sense to me, right? The goal is to match the line. This is the goal line. This is what you have. But I can actually choose the starting values, See if I click on this right here. I like to start with the parent function, y equals 1. I like to start with the basic parent function, y equals 1 over 1 x plus 0, right? And so I hit done, and look at that. When I go to preview it now, I click on the button. You see how it starts? It starts where I told it to. So I want the student to start from the parent function, not somewhere else. So that's going to be 1. I forgot what the slope was, 3/5 or something like that. And I got it. Okay. So you can make these equations. You can make inequalities here if you want. We don't have time to show you, but you could totally do that. Okay. Let's do a hotspot now. I love hotspot. So here's how hotspot works. Some of you are asking, how do you make the rectangle like big enough so it's like liberal? So hotspot, let's add a task. Now I got to upload an image. So I could click there, but what I'm going to do is I have them already pre-made on my MacBook here. See? So here's my equation right here. I'm going to drag it right in there. This looks familiar, right? There we go. So mark the place that is incorrect. You could change your directions here. But now, do I want students to place, as a teacher, what do I want? Do I want students to place only one marker or multiple markers? Well, I think for this one, we had multiple ones, didn't we? So where's the first mistake? It was 12. Here's what you have to do. Take your finger or your mouse, and you want to drag a rectangle around any hotspot area. See how I can make it bigger. See how like I'm being very liberal and like how much room I'm giving the kids, right? There was the first error. There was the second error. There was the third error, right? And that's it. You could put up to 10 boxes for 10 green dots, if you will. Sometimes what I've done with like right triangle trig is I've actually I've copied the worksheet. I just basically, hey, which of the following setups is correct for this picture, and I'll write every wrong one and one right one. So I'll have them do the hotspot to get the right setup. Again, you can be creative in how you use this task type. That's up to you. But you know, geography, identify the country in Africa, whatever. You could do a lot here. Now, remember for our hotspot task before, we had a workspace. I can provide the workspace. What do you want the initial state to be? Well, what about the original problem? You had a play area to do the problem out in, didn't you? So I'm gonna put that one there for my students. That's it. And additional options? Heck yeah, I want you to reflect, describe what the student did wrong. Something like that. And I hit done. So look at this now. See a hotspot? Oh, by the way, you could change the order of them, just kind of drag and drop. I love that. It's beautiful. I'm so easy to please when it comes to stuff like this. But if I preview it, see hotspot right there? See if I drag in it here? I'll drag it here just to test it out. And as long as I type some gibberish in here and I hit submit, it'll turn them all green.
That's why you got to
right?
check it. And you can duplicate a problem. Go back out and show them that because I use that a lot.
Oh,
So
you
do
want me
a
to
copy. Because let's say
Yeah.
I do quadratic and I just want to change the numbers up and do 2 or 3 in a row. I just take
Yep.
one, duplicate it, go in and just make minor adjustments, and I don't have to recreate a whole problem from scratch. So that's really nice.
Right. I know we're getting past time. I just want to show you one more thing, 2 more things here. The first one is Canvas. People are like, Tim, what the heck is it? Susan, what the heck is a Canvas? Canvas
Yeah.
is the old name for whiteboard. Graspable
Yep.
is going to change this name to be whiteboard because remember math.new brought you to the whiteboard and you collaborate with it, do the collaborative groups,
Yeah.
whatever.
Word canvas
right?
is the whiteboard. So just think of it that way.
Yeah, so look at this. Now, I could create like a workspace. Now, Graspable Math is not going to do right or wrong here because all it will do is when a kid hits submit, it's going to turn green on your end that it says the student submitted it. But you have to be the one to come in and look at each student's work. If that makes sense. But you know what though? I don't. Why should I have to? I don't want to recreate from scratch. You know how in Desmos, if those Desmos activity people that build, you could copy a graph URL and paste in the graph element. You could do the same thing here. How do I do that? You import Canvas from link. Watch this. I'm going to import Canvas. So I'm going to go back here to my slides. Let me see here. Let me go back to, I'm going to go back to the cows and chickens question here. I'm going to copy that. Hopefully this works. I'm going to paste it right in there. Look at this. Import it.
Man.
I'm going to keep now I had different keep the activity settings. Look at that. Remember the cow and chicken one we did? I just saved myself like 10 minutes of work. Beautiful. And I hit done. So I sometimes what I've done, teachers, that I made activities with like 4 different canvases for 4 different problems. I've given them some application problems that got to work together. But I gave the canvases an option to students who wanted to use it to do their algebra and Graspable to double check their written work here, so I could see if they did it there. You know what I mean? And so yeah, multiple choice you could figure out on your own. It's pretty simple. It's just you can ask questions. You could do one answer, check all that apply. It's like a Google form. It's pretty simple. But
It's
the
kind
cool
of
part is it's
I like it better.
Yeah, I know. But there's math font here too, which is pretty neat. So that, and I assign the students, and that's how it is. Let me just end quickly just by showing the Google Classroom integration and that kind of thing really quickly. Now for classes here, I want to show you this. You don't have to use classes. There are teachers that I know that use Desmos that make every session a public session. They just never feel like syncing Google Classroom to it, even though in my opinion, it's a whole lot easier, right? But if you're a Canvas user, if you're a Schoology user, unfortunately, the synchronization, you have to connect the links, if you will. But it's not hard. It takes 1 minute. All you do is go to classes here. Now, teachers here, by the way, here's how to add Google Classroom right there. I'll show you this quick. Add Google Classroom. I don't know if I have any more to add. Oh, I have a sample class here. I add it. I have no clue who's in it. Oh, there's one student
One
named no
person.
account shows, but you know what? I just added one Google Classroom class. I could have checked them all. But let's suppose, teachers, let's suppose I don't have it. So let's suppose that I don't have a Google Classroom. Let's suppose I'm Canvas. Now, I know Canvas and Schoology. I know for a fact that you could just make an Excel roster. So I'll do John Smith. Let me just zoom in here a little bit. Give me a sec here. All right. I know I have a John Smith. I have a Sally. I don't know. I'm just making up names. I'm so tired here. But Tasha Smith, whatever like that. So say like my class is this, right? So I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna copy this. And I'm gonna copy
That's
that.
all you have
Okay.
to
Let's
do is
suppose.
copy and paste. It's so easy.
Yep. So now I'm gonna go to
I
my.
did it out
I'm
of
gonna go-
Power School and it worked perfectly. Literally.
So I'll go to classes. Now I can add my Google Classroom classes, or you can make a Graspable Math class. That's what I had to do in my previous school because they used Canvas. I couldn't stand Canvas, but they did it, right? But I personally like Classroom better. But see, I'm gonna call this period. I'm gonna call this my period one. Period one, algebra one, something like that. I create it. Now, this is the one thing you do a year, right? I'm gonna hit import right here. I could type in student name. Oh, someone added to the class last minute. Okay, Mike C or something like that. Last name, first name, Chris Mike or something like that. And I'll add C Chris Mike, whatever like that. But now if I import this, I'm gonna paste those names. See what I did?
It automatically
Add
does
3
it.
new. Look at that.
Yep.
Every student now gets a magic pin. So what that student needs to do is just basically write that pin down or put it in the notes app on their phone. They're actually, if they have the same school issued Chromebook, watch this now. So I do this. Now I go back here. I find an activity here. Right. This was the one we use in our session here. I'm gonna assign this. I'm gonna go up here. I'm gonna go right up here to assign the students. Once I finish making my activity, I want to assign it to a class. Instead of making it a public session, I can assign it to period. Remember, I just did period one, algebra one. I did it there. And so now I hit assign. And now those students, they have once I copy the invite link. Remember, the invite link is always up here. They copy that. You throw that in your LMS. I threw it in Canvas all the time in my last district. I would copy that, put it in Canvas for kids to do as a warm up, and then they would go in there. If a kid forgets their name, a student forgets their name, guess what? You can give them their 4-digit pin right on the spot. You see what I'm saying? That's how you can do it. Teachers, the possibilities with Graspable Math are absolutely endless, and it's really exciting to see what you can do with it. We love using it. Deidre, Susan, and I, we use it a lot. We love it. The kids love it. And personal story here. Last year, I was given a quiz on law of signs in pre-calc. A student came up to me. I'm thinking, 11th grader, you should not have trouble solving a proportion. 18 over sine 40 equals. I'm not sure where to start. And during a quiz, I looked at the student. It was a short quiz on paper. I looked at the student. I said, you know what? I just asked him, if you type that in Graspable Math, and the dragging disabled was disabled, what would you do? And within 10 seconds, the student just went back, never mind. And they're like, some Graspable Math just helps them to learn how to think algebraically by playing with it. By, they just really.
They do make sense of things. Yeah.
Yeah. And so just to think that Graspable Math can help kids psychologically, oh my gosh, this is what I do, what I don't do, and that helps them with the conceptualization. I think it's very powerful. So, and I've heard of other teachers have similar stories like that, So, I know it's past my bedtime, and I'm sure Susan, you got to go to.
And one more thing I want to interject before we sign off. There are tons of videos, tutorials, things you can do, and you can just assign something to kids and let them play. So that's already created, like the tutorial stuff. So I would highly encourage you just to jump in. Don't wait till you're a proficient to try it. You'll learn as you go. It's fun to do. It really is.
And the kids will help you so much. Like I rolled it out last spring with a class of mine and just said, you guys, here's what I know. Tell me what you know. See what you can figure out. And I had some guys that really enjoyed watching tractor videos. And I think by the end of the year, they preferred watching how to do stuff in Graspable Math to tractor videos. So that's huge.
I would have some kids, they like to try to find the bugs, you know? They just like
You
try to
don't try
find
to
the
break
bugs and
it.
just like they try to. And I
Yes.
had a kid find the bug, and I pinged them. I said, and they're like, "Oh shoot, thank you." It's like kids will find bugs for you. It's wonderful and help the developers. It's
Yep.
cool, and I know we didn't. I know we didn't do one, but you could do literal equations with this. If you search activities, literal equations. I know I have one with 20 examples. Susan, I think, has some, but
I
you
have
can
like
drag
20, I think. Yeah.
yeah, it's amazing dragging across, but you can even literal equations disable dragging and have the, well, I got to subtract b sub 2, I got to subtract whatever. And some students, they struggle with it, but man, talk about inverse operations, it helped them. They saw
Mm-hmm.
it in a goal state when they started getting something that looked far from the goal. It's like, oh crap, no, let's rewind
Yeah.
and go back. And so math is playful. And I'm telling you, for those that have been traumatized by math in the past, Graspable helps heal that trauma.
Oh, and my middle schoolers, it's the first thing they said. I hate math. I hate math. They did. This is cool. They instantly thought it was cool. And so it just changed. It takes away the fear of trying. It really does.
Yep, you
Totally.
can
You're
erase,
welcome,
you
Aaron.
can
Sorry,
scrub, you
Connie.
can move. Yeah, it's great. Thank you, Tim and Susan, so much. ICTM, Iowa Council of Teachers of Mathematics, is so happy to have sponsored this series of math tools you can use right now, whether you are a math teacher, a math beginner math teacher, or somebody who is just teaching math this year, because we need you. So thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. And Tim, could you put up the first slide again with the QR codes just so people can find a way to follow you
Sure.
on all your socials?
Sure. So Susan and I are here. If you take your cell phone really quickly. Let me go to present here.
Maybe Zoom. Yeah.
View slideshow. Okay, yeah. So if you want to take a picture of that QR code right there, one on the left, one on the right, we'll leave it up there for a couple seconds. That's where you
I'm getting mine.
You're muted, Tim. I can't hear him.
Tim. Tim, you're muted.
Sorry about that.
There we go. There we go.
You, sorry. But if you want to get that that Google Slides thing, I think that's the one that gives it right there. I just put it in there now. That's what'll do it right there.
Okay.
So, yeah, thank you everybody for joining us. It's been fun. It's been an honor. Thank you, Susan, for staying up late. Yeah,
guys.
so we'll see you guys. We'll see you guys next. Thank you, ICTM, for sponsoring this free event. Mathagon, yes, Colleen is next week. David Porras, Anita Adamir will be in the house Tuesday night. Deidre will be here with us August 23rd. And then on Thursday, the 25th, Nick Corley and Kathy Henderson will be wowing us with a lot of amazing Desmo stuff. So if you're new to teaching math, if you've taught math for years and want to learn more, these webinars are for you. Thanks for joining. Have a great evening, great morning, and we wish you much success this year.
Yep, and all the URLs can be found at iowamath.org. After next week, once we've got all the links, we'll just post them all on iowamath.org. You can find them there after next week. Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.